Golden Black Radio is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we carry all the gear you need from the top brands, all at prices you'll love. And now shopping at the Academy is more convenient than ever. We offer free assembly on in-store purchases of most bikes and grills, plus free and easy curbside pickup on academy.com orders. Want to save even more every day? Open and use an Academy Sports and Outdoors credit card to get 5% off future purchases when you're approved. Save time and money at Academy Sports and Outdoors and have fun out there. Welcome into another edition of Golden Black Radio presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm your host, Derek Schultz. We're getting fancy on the show. We're doing commercials. We're doing all of that. I just magically transported the headphones, and I guess I still have Mackey Arena in the background on my screen in between the commercial and the start of the show. The important thing is, outside of all the housekeeping notes, we are under the 3-week mark now until Purdue football resumes with the season opener against Ball State on August 31st. And our football gurus, Tom Dienhart as well as Jellison, have been all over camp over the past couple of days. We're going to tag both of them in here to the show in just a little bit. But first, here are the amazing Golden Black sponsors that make the show possible, including Purdue Federal Credit Union, a proud partner of Purdue Athletics and the official credit card for Purdue fans. Boiler up. East End Grill and Ripple and Company, two distinctive bistros across the street from one another on the far end of Main Street, the perfect place for your next event. The Whitaker Inn, this Midwestern oasis is perfect for a relaxing staycation or weekend getaway. Escape from the ordinary at the Whitaker Inn. Sand Valley Resort, tee off this golf season at Sand Valley. Using their online booking platform, it's easier than ever to find availability and experience golf as it was meant to be. Conveniently located in the breathtaking dunes of central Wisconsin, Sand Valley offers a collection of award-winning courses designed by world-renowned architects that are suitable for all skill levels. Visit sandvalley.com and book your tee times online today. And the Purdue Institute for Cancer Research. The Purdue Institute for Cancer Research has a history of innovation and one goal for the future: defeat cancer. Purdue brings together world-class Boilermaker scientists from across the university, conducting cutting-edge research that uncovers new ways to prevent, diagnose, and treat cancer. With your support, cancer research saves lives. Join the fight and donate to the Purdue Institute for Cancer Research today. GoldenBlack.com football writers Tom Dienhart and Jellison now join me on Golden Black Radio. And fellas, as I mentioned, we're getting up close to the season, and we're about 2 weeks into camp here. And it appears new head coach Barry Odom was pretty happy with what he's seen so far. He went as far as saying that that Thursday, I believe, was the best day of the bunch to this point. Tom, I know you've been around this a long time. There's always some new guy optimism, but Barry Odom does not strike me as a rose-colored glasses guy. If he's happy, then I'm going to take his word for it.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be, like you said, a guy who's going to be blowing a lot of sunshine around if it's not merited, right? So that was a little bit eyebrow-raising to hear him say it. It's good news to Purdue fans, obviously, right? And Derek, they had a scrimmage on Saturday. I was told it was a very long scrimmage, 3 hours long. And, we obviously didn't get a chance to watch it or talk to Coach Odom since then, but I'm kind of eager to see what their takeaway is from that scrimmage. The scrimmage again on Saturday, but yeah, so far so good. It seems like things are coming together, Derek. But, Dub and I talk at practice sometimes. You can get kind of sucked into what you're seeing and thinking everything's great. But truth be told, not a big revelation here. We really don't know what's going to happen here August 30th. That'll be the real tell, right? Especially those first 3 games, all at home with Ball State, SIU, and USC. It'll be very interesting to see what this team has in every phase of the game.
Yeah, and I think I said August 31st. It's actually, you're right, it's August 30th. I was trying to get that right. But I think people know when Purdue football is starting the season. It's a couple of Saturdays from now. But I'll present this question to both of you guys because I want to get each of your opinions here because they may differ. But I'll start with you, Dub. Is there a position group from what you've seen so far that has been an outlier and stood out in a positive way so far in these first 7, 8, 9 days of camp?
I think the running back room is solid. And it's one that, you have a known quantity in Devin Mockabee pacing the group, right? The lone starter coming back from the offense from last year's team. So, and we just talked to Lamar Connor today, actually, and, he's very high on Antonio Harris, another walk-on from Southern Indiana, very reminiscent of what we saw out of a young Devin Mockabee back in 2022. Now, you got to go out and prove it, but their stories are eerily similar. And then you add in the likes of, Malachi Thomas, who's a veteran that came in from Virginia Tech, and then Jaheim Merriweather, who I think is the most talented of the bunch. We'll see if he can if he can put it together. And then Jerron Thomas is another guy that Coach Kennard is very high on as well. So I think the running back room is in a really good place, especially compared to the rest of the roster.
Any group from you, Tom, that has been a standout?
I really want to believe in both lines at this point. The offensive line, the defensive line. You guys know, you watch a lot of football. You got to be good up front on both sides of the ball. If you're not, you have little chance to be a good football team. And again, it's been a consistent first team O-line and D-line for most of camp. Seen Ethan Trent snapping the ball, especially on the left side of the line with Joey Tonona and Jalen St. John. We've seen Mark Nave move in at right guard and Bakeem Coley still be the right tackle. And defensively, even more stability there with, I think C.J. Madden could be a real anchor. Number 8 could be that pass rusher deluxe they need. Number 23, Trey Smith, is that other end, a sort of a longer athletic guy that they like a lot too. And inside, fellas, Dub knows this, they like that tandem. You got gigantic Chops Harkless there, weighs about 350 pounds. And again, the guy that really excites me is number 13, a kid from Auburn. T.J. Lindsey looks like he could be one of the bigger steals they got in the portal this last offseason. Another big body, not as big as Chops, but he's a guy that's nimble on his feet and can move. And best of all, the hard thing with the big guys, as you guys know too, is to get them to play hard all the time. And T.J. Lindsey's one of those guys they say has one of those nonstop motors. So I'm really eager to see number 13 in action here soon.
Mike Shear on the defensive side of things, we were talking about him. Fast riser, right? Guy's barely in his 30s and played for Barry Odom at Mizzou, which doesn't feel like that long ago that Barry Odom was at Mizzou. But again, he's a young guy and now the defensive coordinator of the Boilermakers. What's impressed you about him so far from what you've seen, Dub?
Yeah, and like you said, a fast riser and someone that Barry Odom really trusts to run the defense. He's super intense. He's a very intense guy. Whenever we talk to him, he has a lot of passion behind him. One thing that I noticed when I was watching some UNLV games later in the year last year, he's not afraid to throw out some exotic blitzes. Their defenses are very multiple. I think the first time we talked to him, he said that they want to play offense on defense, an aggressive style. And, I think a lot of coaches say that, right? But seeing some of the things that he does with his defensive back blitzes is something that's really caught my eye. I think he really lives up to it. So those are some of the things that I've kind of noticed about him.
That linebacker group he's got, Tom, is interesting. A couple of UNLV guys, but I know you were pretty smitten with this FCS player in Sanders Ellis, maybe kind of being a diamond in the rough a little bit with that group.
Smitten, that's a great word, Derek Schultz. Yeah, smitten would be accurate. That would be true. Yeah, I tell you, we talked to them late last week, and a very impressive foursome they've got there. All portal guys, and Dub knows this too. They really needed an upgrade there, linebacker, and I think they've gotten it, at least from all appearances, right? Sanders Ellis, number 6. He's of whom you speak, Derek Schultz. Tennessee State, a little school in Nashville, Tennessee. He's one of the best true freshmen last year at that level. He looks the part, man. I'd want him walking in front of me coming into a room. I think he'd clear path for you. And then Charles Correa, Dub's working on a story on Charles right now. He's another guy that really excites me, man. He's a native of Hawaii. He went to his family moved all the way to Las Vegas before his junior year in high school, just so he could play high school football at Bishop Gorman, a real powerhouse in Sin City there. Has an uncle that was an NFL draft choice, and this guy's, if you know anything about Polynesian football players, they are tough as nails, and this guy fits the bill, and I think he's pretty athletic too. So I think he's going to start next to Manny Powell, number 16, who's going to be a real leader on this defense. And then Alex Sanders, Sanford actually sort of rounds out that force, and he was here in the spring with Manny Powell. He's a kid from Arkansas. So they got 4 good guys there that combine athletic ability with some smarts And again, it's a couple of guys came from UNLV, so they know the system already too, which is a bonus.
Where do they sit right now at quarterback? You have any clarity there? Is it a 2-horse race? Is it a 3-horse race? Is it more than that?
For me, I think it's a 2-horse race.
Mm-hmm.
I think most would agree. Dub and I sometimes get in debates at practice, and we've talked about the quarterbacks before. He can give you his opinion. I think the pecking order is Ryan Brown, Malachi Singleton. We talked to Josh Henson last week, and he said there was some separation back then. Again, we haven't had a chance to talk to these guys since the scrimmage to see if there's any more separation, if you will. You can't believe everything you see in practice with who's running with the ones, who's running with the twos, because they've been mixing and matching guys all throughout camp. But again, I think they brought Ryan Brown here for a reason, right? They looked at Malachi Singleton. They looked at Evans Chuba. They looked at Bennett Meredith and E.J. Colson. And I think they had to collectively say, hey, we need something else. And again, I don't think Ryan Brown was brought here to wear a baseball cap and hold a clipboard.
Yeah, and I know that some Purdue fans still have some PTSD from the quarterback carousels of the 2010s, right? You know, Caleb Turbush and Robert Marve and, you know, all those names that, you know, kind of rotated in and rotated out, and Appleby and then Etling. And then, you know, we bounced around. Purdue is used to bouncing around. Is there a chance in your mind, and I'll ask this to you as well, Tom, but Dub, is there a chance in your mind that they would maybe play 2 quarterbacks at times?
I definitely think they will. Now, to what extent, we're not going to find that out until maybe not even the USC game, you know, because if all goes to plan for Purdue, you know, you kind of walk out of the Ball State and Southern Illinois games handedly with a lot of guys getting some action, right? But I think whoever wins the starting job, and, you know, I was high on Malachi Singleton previously, but I kind of share the same opinion of Tom now. You know, that Ryan Brown is the guy that I think we all expect to win the job. So whether or not Singleton has some specific packages for him, you know, he's a very elite runner. So that could be a weapon that Purdue chooses to employ. But you know, I still think that you're going to see multiple quarterbacks playing for the Boilermakers this year.
How do you feel about that, Tom? Are you a 2 quarterbacks guy? Or are you if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none type guy? Where are you on that?
I think maybe we'll see packages for a guy like Singleton. I don't think there'll ever be maybe a specific plan every game to use 2 quarterbacks. But I could see them wanting to take advantage of what Singleton brings to the table, right? Well, why just have him sit on the bench when there's some certain things he can do from a skill set wise that you think could help your offense, right? Especially in specific down and distance situations on specific parts of the field. So I think they're going to have some packages where they bring him in on 3rd down, maybe bring him in on the red zone. I don't know, but I think they're probably going to try to concoct something to keep his hand involved and to take advantage of his skill set to help him win some ball games. So it's going to be fun to watch how this position's handled, guys. And I remember doing some research a couple years ago. The last season, Purdue started the same quarterback in every game. You have to go back to 2016 when David Blau started every game. So since then, guys, either ineffectiveness or injuries caused Purdue to start at least 2 quarterbacks each season since.
And that's got to be the only time in the last 15 years that's been the case, right? Because I'm going back in my head and I'm thinking about Turbush and Marv and all those guys. And was it Joey Elliott before then, maybe in 2009? Was he the only one that started?
And Rob Henry.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Derek Schultz, you are blowing me away with your knowledge of Purdue quarterbacks. I'm very impressed.
I can dig pretty deep.
You're a sick man. You're a sick man.
Yeah, I am. Pretty quiet on the recruiting front, and obviously portal windows and all of those have since long such closed. But Dub, I know you're always keeping an eye on player movement, and the Boilers did make a very late JUCO ad last week. BJ Mays, who had not only played JUCO ball, but he had originally actually started his career out in Maine, but a Midwestern native, I believe, Illinois. What can you tell us about him and that late addition to the 2025 roster for the Boilers?
Yeah, you know, in the departure of Sam Stewart, who never reported to camp, as you know, Tom reported last week. I believe it was. Purdue decided to go out there and get a JUCO linebacker, B.J. Mays, as you mentioned. He's a little smaller than I anticipated. Looks more like a safety. That's something Tom had noticed when we first saw him out there. But a guy that he might be worth taking a flyer on. Coming from the JUCO ranks, he's pretty productive. I think he had 29 total tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, and he played linebacker and nickelback. So a guy that you could potentially move around, see if you can add some weight to him. He's still young, but a high upside guy, and is uber athletic as well. So we'll see if he'll be able to crack the rotation. If not this year, then maybe next year.
Yeah, the one thing about those JUCO guys, FCS guys, they're hungry, right? They're looking to prove that they belong, and I think that's sometimes not that you get a transfer from Arkansas or LSU or Georgia. They're not looking to do that, but I do think that there's a little bit of a different mentality with those guys, and it'll be interesting to see how things play out for him. It's all day, every day for Purdue football all week long. They're going to go through Friday. The best Purdue football coverage comes from Tom and Dub right here at goldenblack.com and on social media. So follow along, both of them, for updates. And guys, appreciate it as always. And I'll be bugging you via text here pretty soon again.
Thank you, Derek Schultz.
Thank you, Derek.
That's Tom and Dub. And that is our show, Golden Black Radio, for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. And thanks to our incredible sponsors, including Purdue Federal Credit Union, the official credit card for Purdue fans, East End Grill and Ripple & Company, two distinctive bistros across the street from one another on the far end of Main Street in Lafayette. The Whitaker Inn for unparalleled comfort in cuisine. Visit the Whitaker Inn. Sand Valley Resort. Tee off this golf season by visiting sandvalley.com and book your tee times online today. And the Purdue Institute for Cancer Research. The Purdue Institute for Cancer Research has a history of innovation and one goal for the future: defeat cancer. Join the fight and donate to the Purdue Institute for Cancer Research today. And of course, thank you very much to our presenting sponsor, Academy Sports and Outdoors, as well, for joining the team here at Golden Black Radio. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Of course, you can leave a positive review if you are so inclined on whatever podcast platform you are utilizing. Also, if you haven't already, you're going to want to definitely subscribe to goldenblack.com. It's burning hot right now. August all the way through basketball season. So we're thinking April, right? I don't want to jinx it, knock on wood. You definitely want to be a subscriber at goldenblack.com. Obviously, Tom and Dub's coverage, Brian Newbert, Carm, Knucklehead Central, anything and everything by becoming a subscriber at goldenblack.com. And then, of course, we have our other social platforms like YouTube, all of these podcast channels, Apple, Spotify, whatever else that you might be listening to, Amazon. Enable alerts so you know when new content is coming. New highlights and videos are uploaded regularly, and great content here at goldandblack.com. We really, really appreciate you following along. My name is Derek Schultz. I hope you enjoyed this edition of the show, and we will see you next Tuesday right here on Golden Black Radio.